Well, today is the day, traders. We have, in my total algorithm that I use to trade professionally, revealed 4 pieces of it. And today, we reveal this piece right here. It's piece number 5, so you can call it the fifth element, maybe, but not really, because I think in the movie the fifth element was the final piece, and this isn't. Well, regardless, it's a very important piece, and it's going to make your trading a lot better. So let's get to it. Multipass. And here we go. I said in the podcast a few days ago, this reveal might disappoint some of you because you might be already doing it, as far as I know. But many of you are not, and there is a way to do this properly, and so this does apply to all of you. So in this video, we're going to uncover that piece. We are minutes away. I will not bury the lead. It will not take long, but we're going to explain why it's so necessary and how it helps you. And then we're going to talk about the best way to actually test this piece out and the best way to use it. Because if done correctly, there is no way this thing cannot make your system even better than it already is. And I think this is something we should be looking forward to, because when we revealed the volume indicator, that was pretty tough. Finding them is not super easy, and then testing them is relatively easy, but you've never really done that before. I think you're going to have a much easier time with this piece. Now, I want to remind everybody how this works if you have never seen this or if you have forgotten. First off, if you've never seen this before, you have gone way too far ahead. Please go back. I will link every video you need to see first in the description. You're going to get totally lost on this video. This is for people who have been with us all the way. So as far as you all go, remember this confirmation indicator right here is the anchor. It is the nucleus for your entire system. It's where it all starts. If you remember what I said in the volume video, all this thing does, and this thing does, and this thing does, is eliminate losses that your confirmation indicator gives you, therefore making it stronger and stronger and stronger, therefore giving you the best entry points possible. Now, not until you combine this with rock-solid money management and great trade psychology does the magic really happen over time. But I am not a subscriber of the just flip a coin method. You can do that and still do well. But if you can take that 50% win rate and add to it and make that 50% just go higher and higher and higher, you can multiply those earnings. And that's why we spend so much time putting this algorithm together, because why wouldn't you want to do that? So without further ado, number 4 and the 5th piece of this algorithm is, yes, you do need a confirmation indicator. It is the center of everything you do, but you also need a second confirmation indicator. Do you think you needed just one? If one is good, and you found a really good one, then having another one there that's also good to check your original confirmation indicator and to eliminate even more losses is even better. This is why I told you guys to hang on to some of those confirmation indicators that you were testing that just didn't quite cut it but came close, because you never know when you might need them again. Now, again, you might be saying, well, I already do this. You're just telling me something I already know. But understand, like anything else, there is a right and wrong way to do this. So let's talk about it here. Now, this should come as good news to you, because you might already have some of these great indicators on you. It's just a matter of going and retrieving them and plugging them in and testing them. This isn't like the volume indicator where you had to go search them out, try to figure out how they operate and figure out how they fit into your system. These things already fit into your system to a degree. And because of that, they should be super easy to test, because now it's just a matter of plugging it into your system and seeing how well it plays with your main confirmation indicator. And in a very short amount of time, traders, your results are going to go up. Finding a volume indicator and testing it was probably the hardest part of this entire algorithm. This is going to be very easy by comparison. But like I said, there is a right and wrong way to do this, so let's get right into that. Now, if you remember, in the trend indicators video, these are the 3 main categories of trend confirmation indicators you are going to find. Now, the big trick here is, let's say your top dog, your confirmation indicator that you are using right now, just happens to be one of these, a 2 lines cross. what I strongly, strongly suggest you do is for your second confirmation indicator, make it one of these other ones. Now, there's a reason why I say this. I'm going to try to use a few analogies here. Try to stay with me. But before we do that, let's just remember what we're trying to accomplish here. I want to make sure everybody is crystal clear on this. We win by not losing. You remember me saying this in the volume video, and I showed you how this works. When we eliminate losses, we make money. It's just as important as gaining wins. It does the exact same thing for your bottom line. A lot of you didn't believe me when I first said this, and I showed it to you in that video, and you're like, oh, wow, that's pretty goddamn amazing. So every chance we get to do this, we should do this. Now, the volume indicator that you have picked out should do a really great job of this, but as is always the case with volume indicators, they're going to knock you out of a few wins. The key, really, and actually the way I have it right now, I can't remember the last time my secondary confirmation indicator knocked me out of a win. It may not be that way for you right away, but over time, if you keep improving on things like you're supposed to, it's going to get this way. You're going to be able to eliminate losses without eliminating wins in the process. That is the magic cake right there. And then you add your volume indicator into the mix to eliminate even more losses. Get used to winning a lot once you have all these things in place. Because, and people say it all the time, and they're actually right, you do need a confluence of things all working together. You need two or more things flowing into one thing, and that one thing is your system. But this is where the confluence people get it wrong. They'll say things, well, like, VP, you're not talking about the RSI indicator the right way. As a standalone indicator, it's probably not very good. But when I combine it with Fibonacci and trend lines, it becomes a lot better. Okay, well, I'm sure it does become a little better because you're using other things to try to make it better. But let's just try this. Stay with me here, guy. Yeah, follow me if you can. Instead of taking a couple of old, outdated tools that don't do the job really well, maybe let's find two really great tools that do the job amazingly, test them out, see how well they work together, and when we find that magic combination, let's put that on the field instead of what you're proposing. You're trying to tell me that, okay, the RSI is like that unathletic, useless person that can't play football. But if you add on two more useless, unathletic players, that's going to up your chances of winning. Yes, it is, technically, but I like my way better. I'm finding absolute killers that do a pretty good job on their own, but once you put them together and once you find that special chemistry that's really, really hard to find, that you don't find everywhere, you have something absolutely amazing. For those of you who don't know, American football, this is legendary quarterback Joe Montana. This is legendary wide receiver Jerry Rice. Incredible athletes, fantastic football players on their own. But having that's not going to win you Super Bowls. What these two had was a very special connection. They always knew what the other one was going to do. It was almost like one person playing as two. And one of the biggest reasons the 49ers won all those Super Bowls back in the day was because of the way these two played together. This is what you were ultimately trying to find. You can find two really great pieces, James Harden, Carmelo Anthony, that do not play well together. And it's going to be exciting at first because you're combining one great thing with another great thing, only to find that the combination just doesn't work out. But to really win, you still need great pieces. So you can go ahead and suit up your combination of crap tools, sit there and combine them and act like you struck gold. I'm looking for killers. Not only that, I'm looking for killers that play really well together because when you find it, it is like nothing else on earth. But again, remember this too. If Joe Montana were throwing to another Joe Montana, the result wouldn't be that great. That's why, again, find a combination of one of these and one of these, or one of these and one of these. Make it so they're trying to accomplish the same goal, but operate differently. If you can find the combination of those two things, that is where the game is won. I am done drilling this idea into your head. It is time to actually test this out in real time. So this is the part where you would take notes if you are a note taker. What you want to do is always understand that your main confirmation indicator makes all of your decisions. This is where you start. This is where everything bases off of. But once you get a signal to go long or short, then you look down to your second confirmation indicator and see if it tells you to make the trade or to not make the trade. It should normally say go ahead, but you will run into times where it's telling you no, and this will make you angry because you wanted to make the trade really bad. But you're going to find over time that it was the best thing for you. You're going to find out not even 1 or 2 candles after the fact that that trade would have been a loser. That's how you know you have a really good confirmation indicator. Now, while you're doing this, leave everything else out of it. You're going to need the ATR there to see if things would have been a win or a loss. But we're going very black and white here. You just want to see which secondary confirmation indicator takes away the most losses while still preserving the wins. And we find this out by recording the results off to the side every time we do this. Now, based on the indicators you have already, a winner is bound to emerge. Now, it doesn't mean you've necessarily found the magic combo, but it does mean you are now taking a lot less losses than you were before. Then you add your volume indicator into the mix, and it just gets even better. But for now and for this video, we're just going to worry about this right here. So let me show you how this works by going to my charts. So here we are again at the euro-dollar daily. And I like this example a lot because if you remember from before, this area right here provided you with a ton of losing trades. It was all good back here, but once you got to here, you would have given all of that money back and then probably more. This was an absolute killing field. So I like using this chart for many reasons. One, it shows you that I don't cherry pick. We use the same chart pretty much every time. But I really want to see how many losses we can prevent here. And this chart is a great way to do that. So what I'm going to do is put up a 2 lines cross indicator. And I also marked the point in time where just on its own, if you use nothing else at all, where it would have actually given you a win and where it would have actually given you a loss. So let me show you what I mean. Here it is. So you guys have seen me use the Arun up and down before. It's in my top 100, but that's after I tweak the heck out of it. The base version like this isn't really great, and it's no surprise that we got the amount of losses we did, especially on the euro dollar, especially in this murder zone right here. So if you don't remember, every time a line crosses up above another one on this indicator, it's either a long or a short. If it's blue, it's a long. If it's red, like that, it's a short. Pretty easy, pretty cut and dry indicator once you use it a couple times. And let's see, we have 6 wins, and I count 12 losses. Really bad. It was 4 wins, 2 losses till it got to that zone, and then just right off a cliff. So what I want to do is I'm going to find a 0 cross indicator to check it against and use that 0 cross as my secondary indicator. Now, for fans of the channel, you might remember the 0 cross indicator I always use is called the rate of change. It is so bad that I couldn't even really use it for this example, no matter what setting I put it on. So I had to bring up another 0 cross indicator that actually works better from start to finish. Is it in my top 100? No, but it's still pretty good. And I will link it down below if you want it. I know some of you are already familiar with this one. It is called the Chaikin Money Flow Index. Now, all this does is if you were using it as your main indicator, you would wait for this line to cross up, and that's a long. As soon as it goes over the white line like that, and then if it goes down like this, that's when you would enter short. Now, we're not going to use it that way for this. All this is doing is giving us confirmation. So every time we get a signal here, because for this exercise, this is my main numero uno confirmation indicator. All I'm going to do is like right here when it said go long, I'm going to look down and see if this line is above this line. If the purple line is over the white, then that means this thing here is telling me that long is the way to go. If it's below, then it's telling me that short is the way to go. If they agree, it's a trade. If they disagree, it's not a trade, and it never was a trade. And so if it was a win or a loss, I need to take it off the board. So for this exercise here, so we don't go forever, let's just worry about the losses. Chances are if these things eliminate wins, like I said before, it's not going to be too many. But let's see how many of these losses we can zap and get out of here. All right. So we'll go a bit slow and deliberate here. Let's pull up the crosshair. On this loss right here, it was a short, as you can see. I look down, and Chaikin is saying, no, we're not in a short program here. We are in a long program. As long as this is above this, you're only allowed to take longs, which means this loss here would have never happened. See how that works? These two did not agree with each other, and it turned out to be a really good thing. So all the pips we lost on that trade go right back into our pocket. So you're testing this pretty much just like you did with the volume indicator, but let's just keep going and see how many of these losses we can get out of here. So right here, this was a loss. We went long, and price did not go long. It went short right away. But Chaikin disagreed with a rune up and down. Chaikin said, no, we're only taking shorts here. Look at the line. It's below 0. So this wouldn't have counted either. Let's just take that one off. Moving on. Here is a loss, and this refers to this long right here. The blue is crossing above the red, so it's a long trade. Chaikin disagrees. We're going to take this one off too. You understand why we did, right? The blue crossed up over the red, even for a brief time. You know, we don't have the hindsight to know that it came right back down. We're just taking this trade right here. But our second confirmation indicator would not let us. It said, no, asshole, short trades only. And again, we can take that loss off the board. So on the next one, you see here that the red went up over the blue, so that's a short. It was an immediate loss, and this time Chaikin agreed, says yes, short was the way to go. So that's just a flat-out loss. So we'll keep that there. Moving on, here we go. Short trade, it was a loss. Did Chaikin say short? No, Chaikin said long. Disagreed, would have never been a trade. Let's take that off too. Over here to this loss, it was a long. Chaikin also said long. That's just a flat-out loss. On this short loss, Chaikin was also short. That stays a loss. Another long that was a loss. Chaikin agrees. So yeah, unfortunately, all these have to stay. But we've already eliminated quite a bit, so let's keep going with this. Now you're going to notice this is kind of hard to see, especially if you're on a phone, but the rune up and down gave us a short and then immediately gave us a long. And they both happen to be losses. But down here, Chaikin was long the whole time. So the trade that was a short would have never happened. So this one right here, we'll take it out. Moving on to more recent action. You have a long. Chaikin was like right on the 0 line. So whenever that happens, you can look over here and see what the number says if you're doing it in real time. But since we're back testing, we don't know like 100% where this thing would have been right on that candle. Looks like it was pretty close to 0, so we can't really in good conscience take that loss away. We just don't know, so we'll leave it there. And then this next one, it was a bad short. Chaikin also said go short. We'll keep that there. So out of 12 losses, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. we eliminated 5 losses that did not need to be there. Just by taking an indicator that on the default settings is not that awesome and combining it with a zero line cross that really, to me, could be a lot better. Decent, but just okay. So just by doing that on a pair that absolutely destroyed trend traders in the last 4 months, we mitigated our losses tremendously. And you have to remember too, this is like doomsday scenario right here. Other currency pairs didn't look like this. On other currency pairs, if you have a really good confirmation indicator, you probably had a lot more wins than you did losses to begin with. And then it's just a matter of fine-tuning, getting some of those losses out of the way, and then introducing your volume indicator, which is probably going to go below this. And by using all 3, that's where the game's really won. We only use these 2 when we test. When it's actually time to trade, it's going to be a little messy, I know, get over it. You're going to have your volume indicator under here. You're going to pull up the ATR and use it, but then you're going to get rid of it. So in the end, when it comes time to full algorithm, it's going to be this and then 3 indicators below. But the way they all work together when you're trading in real time, once you've done your testing and once you've found your winners, should yield a lot more wins than losses. And then you add great money management into the mix. That would have made you a lot of pips if you were just flipping coins, but now you're trading with great money management and you're getting a bunch more wins than you did losses. Once you get that down, it is only a matter of time, traders, and you will have this forever, and it will work as long as spot Forex is around. And it will constantly make you money year after year. This is how we do it. And this second confirmation indicator is just another great piece of that puzzle. So in conclusion, I know I repeated myself quite a bit and I reiterated a lot of things, but we remember too, we have a lot of people on here whose English is not their first language and they're trying their best to follow along. So when it comes to revealing a piece of the algorithm like this, I want to make absolutely sure that everybody understands it, understands why it's important, and understands exactly how to test for it. But this goes for everybody, no matter who you are. You got to get to work, especially now that you know this piece and you understand how it fits in the overall scheme of things. But get excited, traders. This is a very quick, easy way compared to everything else you've been doing to make your trading get better and better in a very short amount of time. To me, next to the ATR, this is probably the easiest piece of the entire puzzle that's going to give you the results the quickest. And if you already knew about this piece and this is something you've already been doing, well, that's great. You have a leg up on everybody else. You're that much further ahead. So that's certainly a reason to celebrate as well, because you guys have your work cut out for you. There's going to be a lot of testing and tweaking and back testing and forward testing still to come. As far as the last piece of the algorithm, that's not going to be announced like this piece was. I was very vocal on Twitter and on the podcast letting you know that this was coming up. The next one is going to be buried in another video. I already know which one it's going to be, but it's not going to come out for a while, so don't worry about it sneaking up on you anytime soon. But if you want to know what it is, you're going to have to be part of this crew. So subscribe and hit that bell. Don't miss anything. You want to be aware when that video does come. But in the meantime, most of you have your work cut out for you now that you know this 5th piece. So get after it and make sure that you are taking away as many losses as possible and putting those pips back into your pocket forever. There's only one way to make that happen, traders. So go get it.